Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. This evening, in addition to our normal course of business and agenda, we will be hosting or having interviews for promotional positions, at which time I would ask that someone make a motion to move us into executive session. Prior to such, I'll just go over some of the normal business communications. Since the last time we met, two things in the communications that I feel are pertinent to share with the commission. One is in regards to 50A, which was repealed last year. 50A was the section of law that protected police officer files from being foiled, except under certain circumstances. So that was appealed last year, and there's been some controversy both ways in regards to it. We actually were sued this past year in response to not releasing information, and Alex Smith, representing the city, had just presented this to the Orange County Court, and the decision just came out this past week, or a week ago, and found that, well, the question at hand was whether or not the repeal of 50A was retroactive, or if it went from that date forward, and I believe it was June 12th, June 20 something of 2020. So Alex was of the belief that it was from that date forward because there's no language in the decision that said it was retroactive. So Alex presented it to the court. The court ruled against us, saying that they did believe that it was retroactive, which would mean that we would have to release internal files, certain files, on FOIL requests. Just this past week, or this week, we saw a decision that came out of the Western New York area, out of the Rochester, Binghamton area, that the judge there, who heard a case that's similar about the retroactivity, ruled that it was not retroactive. So based on conflicting decisions in this case, Alex has agreed to, with the mayor's blessing, to appeal the decision. So we're hoping that this case will make it to the appellate court and we'll get a final and binding decision from them. So in the meantime, Alex is requesting a stay so that we don't release anything until we get notification from the court. Another communication, and this is, rather not get into the specific details. If you would like specifics, we could do it in an executive session just for the privacy. However, there is a situation that stemmed out of the high school in regards to a sexual assault that took place in 2019, in which through investigation through our SRO, it was determined that the incident occurred in the town of Walk Hill. Our SRO at the time took a very detailed report, notified the town of Walk Hill, shared the information with them. They did an investigation to its end. There's a decision made by the victim that they didn't want to pursue charges. However, there's during the course of this incident in 2019, the parents of the student were never notified. So it had sparked some information or some controversy in amongst the school community. I just want to put that out to you in case you do get wind of it. We had met with the parents. We've had follow-up with them. On our end, we have done everything that we were obligated to do by our position. Again, it didn't happen in the city of Middletown. It happened in the town of Walk Hill. Our officers relayed the information to the town of Walk Hill, organized an interview so that they could do their investigation and follow-up, which they did a very good job as well. But just, again, in case you get wind of it, and if you'd like further details, like I said, I'd rather talk about the further details in executive session just so that there's no personal information that is put out to the public.
Chief, when you said it happened in the town of Walk Hill, not in the school?
Not in the school, but it was a school student at the time.
Okay.
Nothing else in communications. Old business, does the commission have anything on their old business that they would like to discuss? Huh?
Actually, one thing, how's our recruit doing that?
I do have an update on him, and again, if you don't mind if we do that in executive session. But he's doing much better. I'll give you details. Moving into new business, the March Police Commission meeting minutes were sent to all the commissioners, and I do understand that there was an error in regards to myself not recognizing that Commissioner Rodriguez did come in a little bit after we started that day. I did list him as absent. I will make that correction, and resubmit the minutes, and I will make that correction before they get posted to the city's website as well. Is there any other discussion on the minutes from the March meeting? Thank you. Can I have, if I make that correction, would the commission be okay with approving the minutes as written, as long as I make the correction that Commissioner Rodriguez did come in after the start of the meeting? Second? All in favor?
All right.
Thank you. March monthly statistics, I did send them out just yesterday, I believe, or Monday. We did see from February into March a 19% increase in call volume. So as we see the weather improving a little bit, we did see a pretty significant increase in just call volume itself. Part 1 crimes were still showing a decrease of 38%. Part 2 crimes, a decrease of 9% compared to last year, same time. Arrests, we did see a very slight increase in arrests from the previous month. We were up by 1%. We made 136 arrests in the month of March. UTT production was down slightly by 19%. We issued 273 UTTs in March, and we had 10 use of force incidents. So as I mentioned, we had a significant increase, or fairly significant increase in call volume, and you could also see that how that reflects in the use of force incidents. Any discussion on statistics?
I see there's like one area where there was a 35% increase, and I'm assuming that has something to do with the longer days.
With the longer days, you said?
Yeah, I think it was domestic violence, actually.
I don't know what the rhyme or reason is why we have an increase in domestic violence. It could be the long winter, people cooped up inside. We normally run about 75 per month. So let me just look at the numbers we had there. The previous month we were at 50, so the month of March was more consistent with what we traditionally do. It's about 75 per month. So we could have had a decrease that last month. I'm sorry, I don't have those statistics with me. But I don't have a specific answer as to domestic violence. It's a primary call for us.
It's over the stimulus check. The stimulus check. They're fighting over it.
On the staffing end, Lieutenant Tobin is still planning to retire. I believe his last day with us will be June 13th. Once we confirm all of that, I will make sure that the commission has proper notice so that if we do the walkout, or we will do a walkout, that you can attend. And Sergeant Frank is still anticipated to retire in July. As I mentioned in the last meeting, we started temporarily rotating officers through our narcotics division and detective division to expand their knowledge and training. Since the last time we met, we did make some changes there. Currently, right now, I have Officer Prezzuti in the detective division and Officer Hart in the narcotics division. Based on his performance under his temporary status, Officer Thornton, who was in narcotics previous to Officer Hart, we made more of a permanent rotation there. We had Officer Reed go back to patrol after just about 2 years of narcotics investigations, and he was replaced with Officer Thornton, who during his 6-week stint showed tremendous progress and interest in the position. On the training end, currently right now we started this past week, and it'll run for another week or so to just make sure that we get everybody. We did a collaborative training with the Orange County Sexual Assault Response Team. We had a representative from them come in, do a training for our squads, just to remind them of the importance of the investigation. And as part of the new initiative they're putting out is an I Believe pledge. And after the training, all the officers take the pledge to ensure that they believe the victims of these sexual assault crimes, to help us move along those investigations and hopefully get more of a positive outcome for the victims in those cases. On the COVID level, since the last time we met, I've had 5 employees that have acquired the COVID virus. If you would like the names, if you don't mind, I will give them to you in the executive session. And we are still helping out at the vaccine clinic at Orange County Community College. The vaccine clinic about a week ago increased their volume from about 700-800 per day to about 1,500 per day. And in doing so, they requested that we give them an additional officer to help with security measures. So as of last week, we started supplying 3 officers to the clinic.
The National Guard that's assigned there?
Yes.
None of them have guns?
No, so when I spoke with them, it is considered a humanitarian assignment, and none of them are armed.
So what do they do?
They coordinate, guide, work the parking lots, make sure there's order in the lines. They sit there observers for after the vaccine is given for that 15 to 30-minute window. They coordinate, they bring meals in for all the staff. They're kind of like the runners and kind of organize the site itself. I did forward some internal investigations, I believe 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 internal investigations to the commission for your review. Would you like to accept them today as written, or would you like to have further discussion and come back to them at a different time?
I'll make a motion to accept them.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Also, on the same platform, I did forward the commission 3 updated and/or new departmental orders. One would be rules of conduct, one would be pre-arrest diversion, and one would be hope not handcuffs. If you would like to discuss them, I'm open to discussion if you have questions, concerns, thoughts. If not, if the same thing, if we could have a motion to accept.
Motion.
Second, all in favor? If you don't mind, if I could just go back to the internal investigations and just make sure I read some of it into the record so that they're accounted for. One of them would have been dated October 6, 2020. It was a personnel complaint. The next one was dated October 8, 2020, was a personnel complaint as well. The next one was dated November 25th, 2020, personnel complaint. Next one, December 24th, is officer injury, officer was bit by a dog. The next one is December 6th, 2020, is a slip and fall injury by an officer who slipped on ice. The next one is December 10th, 2020, another officer injury, a door fell on his head as he was clearing a house. Next is January 6th, 2021, was an internal investigation into unprofessional conduct. Resulted in verbal counseling of the officer. The next one is February 14th, 2021, was an internal investigation pertaining to loss of departmental property, which resulted in a loss of 8 hours of accrued time of that officer. Other than that, I don't have anything else, other than the stuff to address in executive session. Does the commission have any other topics they would like to discuss or have further discussion on anything?
Nope. I'll make a motion.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Rodriguez to move into executive session for personnel matters and promotional interviews. All in favor?
Aye.
So we'll move into executive session at 4:53 PM.
Please be advised, this is the end of the public portion of our meeting. Thank you.